All right. Hello, this is Jim Forsythe, Chair of Citizens for Sound Money, and introducing for the first time our Legislative Director, Daniel Diaz. So welcome, Daniel.
Thank you very much.
And
here.
Today we've got Robert. He does strategy for Diamondback. They have a Diamondback token, DBK. So welcome, Robert.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for having me. I'm honored to be here, and I'm glad that you guys are interested. I'm looking forward to diving deeper with you.
Sounds great. One of the questions we like to ask everybody up front is, why is sound money important, since we're all about sound money? So what do you think?
Sound money is important because people need an option to hedge against the inflation that is occurring with fiat currencies worldwide. Sound money provides that option of portability, divisibility, stability, fungibility, store value, medium exchanges, and a unit of account. And it gives the people hope and option to keep buying goods at the same prices instead of facing inflation that's been up hundreds of percent since its beginning. So sound money is important to everyone and everywhere, every day. And we're hoping to provide these opportunities and solutions via gold, silver, and diamonds. And for us, it's diamonds. For other people, it's gold and silver. So we all are like-minded individuals with the same vision and mission.
Great, thanks. And we're not revealing your full identity. That's understandable considering you're dealing with lots of diamonds. But if there's anything you want to tell us about your background or anything, we can tell us that before we dive into what Diamondback's all about.
Yeah, of course. I've been in crypto for some time now, for many years. And I started out as running a smart contract audit company. I'm working in the securities branch, KYC compliance. And then I opened up a development agency and worked with incubating companies and DeFi and crypto, and also in traditional fintech companies, and came across Diamondback and was introduced to them many years ago. And here I am talking with you guys about it. And I saw a very similar mission and vision and goals down the road that Bill and Ingrid had, and helping them scale ever since.
Great. And yeah, so why don't you tell us what DBK and Diamondback's all about? Explain that.
Yeah, so Diamondback is really is a stable price token substantiated by high quality investment grade diamonds. And we want to give people the option to hedge against their inflation, right? And help the unbanked and underbanked with banking services that we provide. We have transactability in 45 states, over 180 countries. We're compliant in the States, in most of Europe, and in the United Arab Emirates. We have 3 offices, one in Miami, one in Lithuania, and one in Dubai. We're looking to launch on 80 exchanges over 35 countries via our partnership with Alpha Point, who helps run our software infrastructure and who also runs the software infrastructure for El Salvador's Bitcoin wallet. And we're also going to be launched as a preferred stable price token on a $1 billion platform that has 1 million users and 150,000 daily users. And I'm looking forward to diving deeper into what DBK is and what makes it so important and why it would be so usable in the near future.
Great. And now, so we talked off camera a bit about the construction of this. It's fairly interesting. So why don't you explain that it's a token expressed in dollars, but intended to maintain its value relative to diamonds. You do that through dripping more tokens?
Correct, right? So since one DBK token equals $1 US worth of diamonds in the vault, as the price of diamonds goes up, as more dollars are printed or more euros are printed, the value of diamonds will go up. So our holders that hold DBK tokens will get dripped more tokens. So it is that is because of our diamond cube model. Our diamond cube model is rather important to what we are building, and I will dive into that when you guys are want me to. So
yeah, go ahead.
Absolutely. So the diamond cubes it contains an ultra rare, unique, polished, natural loose diamonds mounted inside. So what that looks like is it's a attractive, translucent sealed unit registered with noted unique characteristics associated with the specific diamond assets inside. So this data, along with the certification and chain of custody documentation, is recorded and on the dedicated blockchain. So once sealed, each diamond cube is a unique, non-reproducible single asset. So this diamond cube process provides for the fungibility of diamonds in a way that's never been achieved before with our patents currently in process. And the diamond cube is constructed using methods and techniques designed to reveal any and all attempts at tampering. So once the diamond assets are sealed inside the diamond cube, it is impossible to open the unit without evidence of disturbance. So it's really a complicated way of saying cryptographically registering the diamonds to the blockchain via distributed ledger technology. So tokenization.
I see you thinking over there, Daniel. You have a follow-up on that?
No, I'm just taking it in. I have a few questions that I want to ask in a little bit, but yeah, I just find it very interesting the whole concept of how the diamonds themselves are put into the safe and then well valued. So it's you said it's a translucent cube, so they get the diamonds and they put it in the cube, or they make the diamond into a cube.
Is put into a cube in the vault.
Okay, got you.
So can you explain the type of diamond you deal with? I mean, there's lots of stories about synthetic diamonds and stuff. So explain to us what kind of diamonds you guys are using.
So there's, like you said, a ton of different diamonds. I can't get into the specifics of the diamond markets due to trade secrets. That's just something I can't unfortunately get into. Hopefully when we launch, I can. But high quality investment grade diamonds directly from mining companies, and we buy with the Kimberley certification process, which it was created by the UK UN General Assembly in 2003, that doesn't allow rough diamonds into the rough diamond marketplace. So everyone can rest assured that these are ethically and legally sourced directly from mining companies in North America and in South America.
Got it. And I had another question on that. Sorry, Daniel, you had some questions, I think.
Yeah, I we're citizens for sound money, and I kind of brought this up to you before, Robert, when I read your white paper. I asked you, how are diamonds considered sound money, because it's missing the fungibility and divisibility aspects of what sound money is. Can you get into a little bit of that and how your coins make the diamonds into sound money?
Yeah, of course, right. We were chatting about this earlier, and diamonds solely by themselves are not sound money, but cryptographically registering them to the blockchain via this backend technology makes them sound money, because they have a stored value, right? They have portability, right? Now they have divisibility because they have access to everyone, everywhere, every day, right? $1 DBK token equals $1 worth of diamonds in the vault. Stability as well, right? Diamonds have always appreciated over value since 1960, high quality investment grade diamonds. And now we solve the problem of fungibility, because each diamond is unique like you and I, but now they're the same because they're diamond cube sealed, right, in the vault, and they're accessible and substantiated to each DBK token. So you can get your hands now on diamonds, which wasn't the case before, right? It was an asset that was held by a few, and now it can be held by everyone, everywhere, every day, and used as a medium of exchange, or store value, unit of account, and can tie, everyone to an economic parallel structure, from central bank digital currencies to now asset-backed digital currencies, right? So it's centralization versus decentralization, and we sit in that mold of decentralization, giving freedom back to the people and having them hedge against inflation, which has been rampant since the pandemic.
Yeah, and also finite assets versus infinite paper.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
So, yeah, no, that's a good comparison. And that brings up a good point. And one of the reasons why we're interested to have you on is, once you have the blockchain and you can take assets and give it that fungibility, transportability, it does open a lot more options up for monetary use. So it's a very interesting development, I think.
Yeah. I think I mentioned when I was interviewed by Citizens for Money before I became legislative director, about the blockchain being freedom, and how the blockchain can digitize pretty much any asset, not just gold, silver, and diamonds, but even real estate. You can make real estate fungible by giving everybody an equal piece of that real estate and its certain value. I mean, so the blockchain, the technology itself is so powerful that we can actually create a completely sound money economy by digitizing the physical assets and making it available to everyone. When before you had to have lots of wealth to buy large sums of gold, or even an ounce, you can buy fractions of an ounce, you can buy fractions of a piece of land. So I love that the direction that the industry itself is moving towards, and the ability to turn things that were non-fungible and undivisible into divisible and fungible units of measure through the blockchain and through different currencies. So I think it's amazing that we know Load, and we know Kinesis and Paxos and Tether have their own gold backed digital currencies. But I love the fact that I ran into Robert through a mutual acquaintance of ours, and I learned about their project, and now we have Diamondback ABDCs. So it's be interesting to see what else what other ABDCs will be created for sound money purposes and usher in back a sound money economy.
It also provides a way to diversify. You know, where you think gold and silver is money, and maybe you don't think diamonds are, but it also can be a diversification tool as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And Robert, maybe I misunderstood originally until just before this interview. We were talking off the camera. I thought you guys were creating a dollar stable coin, and as the price of diamonds increase, your supply would increase. But you correct me. Can you share a little bit about your tokenomics with our listeners on the unique anti-inflation or the hedge, inflation hedge characteristics of your DBK token?
Yeah, so we are inflation proof because let's say, Daniel, you buy 100 DBK tokens. Those 100 DBK tokens will be substantiated by $100 worth of diamonds, right? And once the dollar, right, depletes, because it will keep depleting, and diamonds rise in value, those diamonds in the vault rise in value via our appraisal by PricewaterhouseCoopers and our valuations from Rappaport, you will be dripped more DBK tokens because those DBK tokens are backed by the diamonds. And then you can offset and off-ramp those DBK tokens into your fiat currency through one of the 80 exchanges that we will be listed on over 35 countries, or in the 45 states, that we're going to have transactable ability in. And we're compliant here in the States, so it won't be an issue for you. But the reason why people will be buying these DBK tokens is we'll be able to hold them as an inflation-proof currency, right, to whatever fiat currency is their denominated value. So that could be US dollar, euro, yen, dirhams, anything. But that is pretty much the essence of what we are building here, is inflation-proof.
Awesome. Yeah, that's very unique. I think Brian Armstrong from Coinbase was mentioning that they should create inflation-proof stable coins, and I was wondering how that would happen. And you explained it just before the call, and you just explained it perfectly now. And it's very interesting. It's definitely an asset that you can invest. So in comparison, let's say I'm buying an ounce of digital gold. That price fluctuates. The ounce doesn't change. But in this case, you're buying $100, and as the inflation increases, I'm getting more of these tokens, which is kind of it's similar to the valuation of gold going up and down, but you're just giving more dollars. Now, what if the price of diamonds decrease? What happens with that, with those dollars or DBKs that you sent to those people?
So the thing is if the diamond decreases versus the fiat currency, right? So dollar and the fiat currencies that I previously stated, that's where over collateralization of the vault is crucial, right? So if you have an over collateralized vault, right, not algorithmic, I don't want people tend to get a little confused. Algorithmic is when a cryptocurrency, right, or digital currency is backed by another digital currency. That is the sound definition of an algorithmic. For example, Luna. Algorithmic base has never worked throughout the previous years. It just never has. But a direct collateralization or substantiation has been proven to work, right? But it's always been to another fiat currency. So for example, USDC is backed by 1-to-1 to the US dollar. It doesn't hedge against inflation. There's no difference between holding USDC and the US dollar, right? You might have easier remittances. It connects everyone because you're on the blockchain. So here, right, DBK is back, right? Let's say the diamonds do drip in value a little bit. Having an over collateralized vault, right? Having more diamonds, US dollar worth of diamonds in the vault than that has been dripped out will be crucial in a situation like that.
So, and in that case, if there is a pullback in diamond prices, you've already dripped another, in that case, you're over collateralized, so you're still good. But then you would just start dripping once the diamond prices catch up to what you've already kind of dripped out, right?
Correct. But throughout the times we've seen it, and since diamonds have been, their prices have been tracked, we've seen it only hedge against inflation because we only keep printing more and more and more money, and that will only happen as time goes on. And that was already going to happen before 2020, but the pandemic just sped up that process about 10 to 15 years of where we would have been with the debasement of fiat currencies.
Yep.
So with that, it's time for that. You can tell they're ushering in a central bank digital currency. MIT and the Federal Reserve have been testing it since 2020. So really, it's going to come down to central bank digital currencies versus asset-backed digital currencies. And we want to give those people the solution and the option to go to a decentralized route where they can use their money, at any time and connect it to anyone. We can already see TradeFi banks, right, cutting off remote countries like the Marshall Islands, Fiji, right? And those remittances are absolutely crazy out there. For example, Marshall Islands, if you want to send a remittance to someone to the States or to Europe, it can be 10% of total funds. So really the blockchain solves that issue of where you can send, a diamond-backed stablecoin, a gold-backed stablecoin, a silver-backed stablecoin for, barely anything, depending on what chain you are in or on, and you don't have to deal with that slow issue of TradeFi banks is archaic, right? So they're ushering in a central bank digital currency that will be completely centralized and take away people's freedom. So having this other option of asset-backed is crucial.
Yeah, something we talk about a lot. I mean, I strongly feel that asset-backed digital currencies are the antidote, the way around central bank digital currencies.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that's kind of our one of our main focuses with our legislative agenda as well, to get states to accept asset-backed digital currencies. And I think that's going to be the future. That actually leads perfectly into a question I wanted to toss, like a soft question, toss at Robert. Do you think that with everything that's going on with regulations, with the crackdowns in the United States and elsewhere, and with CBDCs, the central banks working to create the ISO 2022 interoperability so that central banks can send CBDCs to each other instantaneously, do you think that there will be in the future a world where we have two parallel economies, ABDCs and CBDCs, or do you think the governments are going to try to crack down and make anything other than CBDCs illegal?
I believe it's already starting to happen a little bit with how Gary Gensler and the SEC is approaching crypto in a sense, and how they were trying to crack down. And then right when that happened, BlackRock filed a spot Bitcoin ETF, right? And they've realized they can't shut down crypto. They can't shut down the network. So what they can do is buy all the Bitcoin, buy all the Ethereum, control the networks via that way. BlackRock has over $15 trillion worth of assets under management. They can buy a lot of Bitcoin, right? And that ETF will go through. They're 575 and 1 when they filed with the SEC, right? They pretty much control the role. And so that's exactly what's going to happen. They're going to be CBCs, and they're going to try to kind of get rid of ABDC. It's not going to be possible though, because the blockchain, you can't shut it down in essence.
Right.
You can't do that. So it's going to be an economic parallel structure. And what's going to drive that is going to be retail, right? We already know where the institutions are going to go, but institutions are always the kind of at the end of the game, right? They're always kind of exit liquidity. They're the last to the party, typically, right? So retail and individuals in society will always pick asset-backed digital currencies, right? That would be the more decentralized way to go, give them more freedom. And it only takes about 3% to 5% of a society to really change the culture of a country, we've seen throughout time. So even if these asset-backed digital currencies get a small percentage of society, it will help scale, right? Because you get one person, you get two, you get 4. right? With DBK, we can tell, right? Once we got one exchange, we could get 80. Once we were compliant with one bank in Europe, we would get all the banks, right? So it's a snowball effect when it comes to it. And that's what we're doing with communities as well. We have connections with communities that are looking to get out of their fiat currencies and use DBK for their goods and services and a store of value. And once we get one community, we'll get 10, right? So
Yeah,
I could totally see it as an economic parallel structure, but I think asset-backed digital currencies will win because they'll have the people. And at the end of the day, if the people figure that out, and they will, institutions won't have any say in it.
and recent polling shows that over 60% of people polled in almost every country are against CBDCs being forced upon them. So we'll see what happens when it actually gets rolled out. In the US, we're going to see Fed now starting next month, and we'll see what happens with popular opinion after that.
So, Robert,
yes,
Robert, that was really, really well said. Couldn't agree more, especially like the 3%, 3 to 5%. There's that tipping point, because that's exactly what we're all about. Our first goal is to encourage the use of sound money, and that's what we're trying to do, is develop that parallel system, parallel society, and get enough people in that we get to a tipping point. So, well said.
Absolutely. And I think the main key here is education, right? Because you just named that poll, Daniel, about how 60% of people are against CBDCs, but there's 40% people. Those 40% of people don't know what a central bank digital currency is. It sounds good in your mind. You're like, this kind of sounds okay. But when you really dive into it and what they're going to plan to do, those 40% are going to really switch over to the 60% fast, right?
Yeah.
And the best thing we can do is just educate them on the matter, right? And we get all those people on one board, then the economic parallel structure will be successful, in my opinion.
I think if we show Americans what China's doing with their CBDCs and how they're grading people's social interactions, and that will determine on how much money or interest. I mean, it's scary, the control that a government can have with CBDCs. And I mean, I know there's several congressmen trying to push privacy features into American CBDCs, but I mean, really, how private can it be if the government created it and still has access to it? So it'll be interesting to see what the development teams decide on the privacy if Congress pushes that for CBDCs.
Another question, Robert, is my feel on these asset-backed currencies is that redemption is a good way to ensure trust, but my understanding is you guys don't do redemption. So can you talk about your trust model and audits and all those things?
Yes. I'll dive into that right now. So the trust model is kind of our key characteristic that makes us different from any other stable coins, and such as USDC, USDT, and those ones. And what that looks like is, like I said previously, diamonds are bought from our diamond agents connections in massive bulk. So millions at a time. The principals and the diamond dealers have relationships for over 20 years. And like I said previously, we have always the Kimberley certification. So therefore the diamonds are sourced legally and ethically, right? Otherwise we wouldn't have the integration and collaboration with the top tier companies that we do have. And the uncut stones are acquired for higher margins and then are cut and certified. So each diamonds are handpicked, assessed, and negotiated. Then they are put through the 4C process ourselves, cut, color, clarity, and carat. And then those diamonds then enter our trust model. And what that looks like is the Gemological Institute of America performs the grading service on those diamonds that have been put through the 4C process. Rappaport reports the sales of the diamonds, and then we use that to value our diamonds on a wholesale scale. The diamonds and the DBK coins are then insured by Lloyd's of London, safeguarded in vaults by Brinks, held in third-party trustee by Winchester Global Trust, and then that vault is audited and verified by our partner, perpetual partners at PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is the top Fortune 100 company.
Great. And you mentioned insurance. You have insurance for both the diamonds and also the tokens, I believe. Is that correct?
Correct, because we expect to on-ramp a lot of people that are not used to this type of digital currency via the blockchain, right? And we expect them to maybe have a mishapping of something happening to their tokens, them sending it to the wrong person, something of that nature. So having that insured is crucial, because we then can nullify those DBK tokens and they won't be substantiated anymore by those diamonds, right? So they won't be worth anything. So having insurance is absolutely key in all realms. And Lloyd's of London is the largest insurance company in the world.
When you say nullify the tokens, how exactly do you guys do that?
That's on the back end. So for example, if you, let's say Daniel, let's say you get hacked for some reason, even though that would be, let's say it's you're on an exchange and for some reason DBK tokens get hacked, we can on the back end through smart contract functionality not connect those DBK tokens to the diamonds. Because for that reason, right, if you get hacked and those DBK tokens are floating out everywhere, that's not good. So those DBK tokens can be insured by Lloyd's of London. And that's all due to the backend functionality, which was audited by Hacken. And if you're familiar with Hacken, they're one of the largest audit companies out there with SureTick.
So let's say I send $100 worth of DBKs to someone or I get hacked by accident or whatnot. The way the insurance works is you inform Lloyd's of London that this hack has happened. In the back end, you nullify those tokens and then you mint more tokens for me to get it back through the insurance. Like the insurance pays you. Okay.
It would be a whole process, right? It'd be a whole lengthy process. You have to go through Diamondback and then we have to go through Lloyd's of London. Hopefully that won't happen, but we foresee that's this. Unfortunately, it's just part of kind of blockchain and crypto. Is just like it's the freedom of it. It's a decentralized to the core where things like that can happen, right? So it can be someone else, right? Instead of the bank doesn't have your money in there, so like so yeah.
The more I'm hearing about DBK, man, the more I'm liking it. I mean, the fact that it's going to earn about 4 to 9% interest because it's keeping up with inflation a year. I mean, that's pretty nice. That's a very nice, or even more, because if the price of diamonds go up more than the inflation rate, we'll get more DBKs.
Yeah, right? It's correct. That is correct. And the crazy thing too is it always appreciated over time. So in 1960, per weight per carat, these diamonds were about 2.1K US dollars, and by 2016 it was about 30,000, and by 2023 it's about 34,000. So you can see as inflation gets more and more rampant, this asset class keeps appreciating more and more.
What's the average annual increase in appreciation for the diamonds? Because your diamonds, correct me if I'm wrong, are completely different than any other type of diamonds in the market, right? So your asset class is a special type of diamond that is graded differently with the 4 Cs. So compared to normal diamonds, how are these diamonds appreciating on average per year?
So it varies, right, heavily due to inflation. So for example, I'll give you an example, Daniel. So in 2000, it was 15.1K US dollars worth, right? And then in 2010, it was $25,000 worth. So that's because of what happened in 2008, 2009, due to the financial crisis we faced here. So they, over time, it's been around 10%, I would say 8 to 10%. But like I said, it varies, right? It was 2,700 in 1960. It was 7,000 in 1970. But then you get those large gaps like 2000 to 2010. But no matter what, throughout time, it's always appreciated in value.
Interesting.
And it's always hedged against inflation. And it's an asset that was reserved for the few, and now it's available for everyone, everywhere, every day to use.
I see why you're so bullish about your project.
Although I would qualify, inflation proof, right? Because there's inflation of prices, there's inflation of the money supply, there's diamond prices. There can be moments of, same with gold and silver. There can be moments where gold, silver don't keep up with inflation, but then there's moments where they kind of get ahead of inflation. Like we saw that a couple of years ago where gold moved before the inflation was felt. But yes, I'd say over a long period of time, it makes it inflation proof, not necessarily to some decimal point, but the value is not going to go to zero.
Right.
Yeah, you could say it's debasement proof, right? Debasement, because fiat keeps declining. And so the debasement might be a better terminology of it, but
no, I don't have an argument with what you're saying. It's more just to, caution listeners. That doesn't literally mean, every single day it's going to keep up with inflation. It's over a long period of time.
Yeah. It just fluctuates.
Yeah. Dan, do you have any more questions? We're
No, I mean, I think we covered a lot of things. We did cover they're not redeemable, right? Like other tokens. Um, we talked about the inflation. We talked about the
Oh.
tokenomics.
Debit cards.
Debit cards, yes. Share. Are they available in the United States? And when will DBK be available for purchase?
So we just ordered 4,000 physical debit cards actually just the other day from our providers at Barclays Bank. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them. But yeah, we'll have a virtual and physical debit cards available in Europe and here in the States, and they will be available when we launch, and we're looking to launch in Q3 of this year. Right, we're scaling the royalty program and then propelling into a great launch. You only get to launch a digital currency once, so we want to make sure we do it right. And it keeps getting more and more bullish as we land more of these exchanges and more of these communities and onboarding more of these individuals that want a debasement proof digital currency. So yeah, so it's been great. It's been great so far, and we're looking to have a great launch and be a opportunity and option for people, right? Have them have a chance to diverse, right? Gold, silver, and diamonds. Sounds it sounds like a good trio to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and the construction is really interesting in the sense of you're providing the value of diamonds, but expressed in dollars. But to make that debasement proof or debasement resistant, you're dripping in it. So that's a really interesting construction because I think it's easier for people to wrap their minds around, because they're used to dollars.
Yeah, and I have a question because off camera I mentioned something about the Diamondback royalties, which is a Discord group. Are the drips the royalties that you're speaking of?
So no, those are not the drips. So the royalty program, what that is we were off chain with the royalty program, and then we decided to go on chain. I talked to the team. I was like, you guys should go on chain with that to grab every more liquidity, right? Because you can't have too much capital heading into a launch. And what that is the royalty program earns 5% of the gross sales that goes to the Diamondback stablecoin. Right, it's one of our in-process patents because of the healthy margin of which we buy the diamonds. So we have that profit margin there to give back to early adopters. So let's say you buy a unit of royalty, $20,000. So if we do $1 billion worth of volume, you would make 50 grand, right? And you get paid out monthly, either off chain or on chain, because of how many sales go through the Diamondback stablecoin. We just had a Boeing aerospace engineer, Jesse Burns, just bought $300,000 worth of royalties, and we had a construction company in Lithuania, this like in the Balkans, buy a few $1 million worth, and they're going to pay their salaries to their employees in Diamondback, and they're going to be doing deals and solar and construction in Diamondback.
Wow. So how does one get into this royalty program? Like, where do they go?
So they can head to our Discord. It's called Diamondback Royalties if they're on chain, right? And what I mean by on chain is they buy with crypto, if they buy with stable coins, they can go to our DApp, which is called dbk.finance. They can buy with USDC on ETH, BUSD on BSC, and if they have native BTC, we have a BTC wallet as well for the company. But if you're off chain, we take check and wire transfers, and then we get you signed up for the Diamondback Club. Where we give you your units and you can see the chart, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, so off chain and on chain, growing the community, because communities is absolutely crucial in digital currencies, right? We've seen that, and as you grow, a strong, stable community can really scale you to massive amounts of liquidity and even more individuals and more communities.
Very interesting. Is there a limit on how many royal tokens that you have? What's the
yeah, so on chain it's the royal tokens, right? So you can buy with your MetaMask, for example. If you bought, so one royal token is $1. So if you buy 500 USDC on ETH, you get 500 royal tokens, and you just hold it in your MetaMask. We have a bunch of people working on the back end, grabbing wallets and adding them to the royalty program, right? And so once DBK launches and does 5-10 million, you get paid out in the stable coin that comes directly from the company. And that really gives us a chance to build the community. And we've had a lot of big players take part and buy lots of units. And if someone wants to come in and buy, $20,000 worth of royalties, which is considered a unit, we NDA them up, and then we show them behind the scenes of which exchanges we're getting listed on and who we're working with, and so on and so on.
Very interesting. And these royalties will kick in after you guys launch in Q3.
Correct. Yep.
Okay. Good to know. I'll take a look into it.
All right. And so as we wrap up, Robert, really thanks for this conversation and the conversations off the outside the interview that have been very, very helpful. I really appreciate that. You want to tell us people where they can find out more, any like Discord, Telegram groups, and or website, and we can put those in the notes.
Yeah, so you guys can head to the website. It's diamondback.io. You see our roadmap, you see our team, you can see our team gallery, you can see our partnerships. You can see our partnerships with a video with us with the Seed Group. If you're familiar with the Seed Group, they're a private investment firm out of Dubai. Their founder is the CEO of the Emirates. So that helped us be a gateway into Europe, because Dubai is a gateway into Europe. So you guys can check out that video on our website, and then you can head to Diamondback Royalties on Discord, and then our Telegram channel is called DBK Royal, and you can join those communities there and ask all the questions you want. And that's the way to reach us. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate all the conversations we've had on camera and off camera. It's been great getting to know you guys. I'm looking forward to scaling and seeing what else we can do together.
Likewise.
Sounds great. Thank you.